Hi, can I help the next guest? Hi, I need you to book us a room for tonight with 2 beds. Oh, I am sorry, ma'am, but we are completely sold out. You may have better luck at the hotel just down the street. Again, I apologize. Have a great day. I can help the next guest?
Hi, checking in. I have 2 rooms.
Yes, sir. Perfect. Thank you. I see your reservations just here, and there are your keys. Have a great day, and thank you for staying with us. Excuse me. We still need a room tonight. I'm sorry, ma'am, but as I said, we're completely sold out. Unless you have a standing reservation, I can't help you. Reservations? You guys still do those? That's so old school. Old school? Oh, what? So you're telling me that I have to go online and jump through hoops just to get a room here? Well, walk-ins aren't unusual, but as I've said, we have no rooms available. So even if you did go online, you wouldn't be able to book a room here because we simply have nowhere to put you. But why is it so busy anyway? Well, it's college move-in weekend, so our hotel has been booked out for months now. Well, that's why we're here. I'm moving my son into his dorm. Uh-huh. I still don't understand why that other guy got 2 rooms. He came in after us. Well, ma'am, he booked those rooms 3 months ago. Well, that's not fair. We were here first. I mean, you guys really should have a system for like calling ahead and booking a room or something because this is just ridiculous. Wow, what a brilliant idea. I can't believe no one has thought of it before. Hi, I can help the next guest. Hi, checking in. Here's my information. And now, when we booked a reservation online, we did request a king room, so we got a king, right? Oh, I am very sorry, ma'am, but unfortunately we're sold out of kings tonight, so you are in a room with 2 queen beds. No, that's not okay. We need a room with a king, and that's what we put when we booked the reservation online, so you need to fix this. I understand that you requested a king-bedded room, however, you booked a standard double, and unfortunately, since we are sold out on kings tonight, I cannot honor the request to change it to a king-bedded room. I am sorry. Let me ask you something. Has everyone already checked into their rooms tonight? No, ma'am. Not every guest has been checked in tonight. That's what I thought. And now, have any of these people who haven't checked in yet been assigned to a room with a king? I do see where you're going with this, ma'am, and unfortunately, everyone who is due to check into a king has booked a guaranteed king bed reservation, so I cannot switch out their room with yours. But why not? We're here first. We should get the room with the king. Ma'am, I'm afraid it's not about who physically has arrived at the hotel first. It is about the type of reservations booked. And these people booked guaranteed king bed rooms. You booked a standard room. When I booked online, the only option was to book a standard room. So that's why I put in the comments that we needed a king, and I thought that'd be honored. Well, I'm sorry, but that just means that by the time you booked at our hotel, we had already sold out of king bed rooms. And unfortunately, putting a request in the comments does not equal a guarantee. Well, that's still unfair, and I think it's ridiculous that someone who comes in after us is going to get a room with a king. So you need to put us in a king right now. I'm sorry, ma'am, but I am not going to take away a king bed room from someone who has paid for it. Okay, well, if you won't do it, then I'll talk to your manager and they'll do it for me. Somehow, I highly doubt that. All right, I got a bone to pick with some of you little naughties up in my comment section. This is the symbol of hospitality, the industry that I make most of my videos about. Hospitality. This is widely recognized to be a symbol with an entirely different connotation. And if you are still young and pure, do not look it up. Pineapple started as a status symbol in Europe because it was so costly to transport them up from the Caribbean. They would cost about $8,000 a piece in today's money. But how did the rich wish to show off that they were so fabulously wealthy with buying these pineapples? Well, they put them in the centerpieces of their grand extravagant banquets where they would host all their guests. And not only was it a very intimidating status symbol of just how much money this person had, but it also honored their guests by showing that they went and spared no expense in providing for them for this banquet. Now, of course, as the years and years went on, pineapples became less and less as a status symbol displaying your wealth and more of a gesture of your goodwill and generosity when you're welcoming people into your home or into your place of business and treating them as honored guests. Now, I myself studied hospitality management at the University of Central Florida's Rosen College of Hospitality Management, and that is where I got this pin. Let me tell you, pineapples are everywhere at this school. Even the landscaping is meant to look like there are pineapples popping up out of the ground. So that is what this means. Nothing else, you nasties. But I'm not here to yuck anyone's yum, and honestly, I don't know how or when or why this became a symbol for other things, but I might have to go make an exclusive video about it because I don't really think that I can talk about this on Maine. So with that being said, I hope I have clarified some things about the pineapple and answered the burning question that apparently a lot of you have had. So I have something that I want to talk about today that unfortunately I don't think is going to make a lot of people very happy. And it has to do with privacy signs, do not disturb signs on hotel room doors. They don't guarantee you complete privacy. Hotel staff can and will still enter your room, regardless of whether or not you put that little piece of plastic on the door handle. Sorry. I can hear the outrage already starting in the comments. I paid for that room. That's my room. If I say that no one can enter it, then no one can enter it. Exactly. If someone... Yeah, exactly. If someone tries to come into my room after I put the do not disturb sign on the door, I'm gonna call their manager and get them fired. Yeah, no, not quite. So hotels have always reserved the right to enter a guest's room regardless of whether or not there is a do not disturb sign on the door. Now, traditionally, hotels have promised that they will only enter a room if there is a hotel emergency or a maintenance issue. But recently, there has been a change in a lot of hotels' policies. That change has been the implementation of daily wellness checks. I actually got the idea to talk about this because someone messaged me online saying that a hotel that they had stayed at for a very long time had recently implemented this change to their policy regarding do not disturb signs. And the change was the inclusion of daily wellness checks where someone comes to the room, opens the door, does a visual inspection, and then leaves. Now, this made this person understandably very uncomfortable because why was some random hotel person coming to their room and looking around? Most hotels tell their guests that it is a wellness check to ensure that everyone in the room is okay, that there has been no medical emergency. But this is really just the tip of the iceberg of reasons as to why hotels perform these wellness checks. Now, I think that is the best thing for the hotel to tell their guests because I once had this poor, sweet, older couple come up to me at a hotel and say, "What, miss, some security guard just came to our room and said that he was checking because he thought we had inside of it. My husband and I would never. Why would he think that we brought those things to the room?" And I then had the very fun task of assuring this woman that we did not believe that she and her husband had brought pew no-nos to the room, that we were conducting a general safety check for a list of reasons, that being one of them, but that we weren't targeting her and her husband, but that we did this to every single room at the hotel every single day. So to calm her and her husband down, I went over all of the reasons these visual safety checks are performed. Number one, to actually guarantee that everyone in the room is alive and well. We want to make sure that no one has had any medical emergencies. Number two, hotels perform these checks to visually inspect for any. Number three, for any. Number four, for any signs of human. Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, hotels genuinely have no way of knowing the real motivations of why someone has come to stay at their property. 9 times out of 10, yeah, sure, guests are probably staying in a hotel for completely innocent reasons, to see some family, to go on vacation, to have a business meeting, whatever, but it only takes that one. A lot of these safety changes came as a reaction to what happened in Las Vegas. That happened in 2017. And frankly, I'm surprised that the hospitality industry as a whole hasn't implemented these daily wellness checks, because I know that there are still a lot of hotels who do not do them. The person who messaged me online said that this was a more recent change in policy at the hotel that she usually stays at. And when I started working for the Walt Disney World Company at their resorts in 2021, I believe it was a more recent implementation for them as well. But please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on that point, because I never actually stayed in a Disney resort hotel prior to when I started working for them, because I always lived so close to the parks that it just never really justified staying at the resorts. But to bring it back around, though I understand that these daily wellness checks can be perceived as a complete breach of privacy and unnecessary to some, it is necessary because of the world we live in. Hotel staff everywhere, even at the most magical place on earth, are usually trained to look out for the signs of illegal activity at hotels and in hotel rooms. You would imagine that illegal activity could only ever take place at those shady little creepy run-down motels on the side of the highway that just look like a walking infestation. But no, even the highest echelon of hotels can be targeted, and they are precisely for the reason that people perceive them as the kind of hotels where shady business just doesn't happen. A great example of this actually comes from one of my ex-managers who used to be a bellhop at a very stuffy, and I mean stuffy, hotel. He was called to a room to help bring some bags out of it, and when he walked in, he was like, this looks a little weird. And he went to his manager and he said, yeah, no, they had the windows all boarded up and they put tinfoil on it. And he described all of these really weird objects that he saw on the tables and in the bathrooms. And his manager's eyes got so wide and he immediately called the police because someone was cooking up zippy no-nos in this extremely high-end hotel. And though my manager had recognized that something looked off about what was happening in that room, he had no clue that it was zippy no-no cooking, because he had not been educated on what that looked like, because, and this was back in like the 90s, the hotel had never even considered that they would be targeted as a place where people would try to conduct this kind of illegal activity. So that is a good reason why these safety checks are being implemented at more and more hotels. But again, I understand that the vast majority of us who go to stay at a hotel are not trying to do illegal things in the room, and we're of healthy mind and body where no one needs to come and make sure that we're still living and breathing in the room. So why can't we just opt out of this? Why can't we just say, hey, we're good people, you don't have to come check our room, stop conducting these daily checks on us? Well, sorry to say it, but hotels just don't have the luxury of taking your word for it. We don't know you. And unless you want to walk into a hotel and have your entire person and all your bags scanned like you're going through airport TSA, they just have no way of knowing what you are bringing into their rooms. And at the end of the day, you are renting a room on their property that they own. And anything that happens on that property, they can be liable for. So it is in hotels' best interest to guarantee the safety of not only their guests, but of their ability to operate, that they ensure that what is happening within their rooms is legal and safe. I do encourage you to always put your valuables either in the safe or at least out of sight if you are leaving the room for the day. I also encourage you to always have the safety latch on when you're in the room. If you are ever uncomfortable about whoever is trying to enter your room, call the front desk to verify their identity. And finally, if you are wanting to have a certain time that the safety check is performed so you're not disturbed in your room, like let's say your kids are trying to nap and you don't want someone to come knock knock and look in the room, call the front desk, ask if they've already performed the safety check, or try to coordinate with them on a time that works best for you. I hope I have clarified some things for you on this topic. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or stories of your own, please feel free to comment them down below. I plan to make my next Hotel Worker Explains video about conventions and a little bit more lighthearted in that way, so look forward to that. I'm Jessica Vanell. I have a degree in hospitality management. I've worked in hotels for 7+ years, and I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. too. Stay safe out there. Have a great day. Bye. Hello, thank you for calling the Tilton. This is Liz. How may I assist you today? Hey Liz, this is Talia from Ashmeria, and you will not believe what just happened over here. Oh, hey girl, I have a great story for you too. Oh yes, well let me tell you what just happened, okay? So today we have a wedding on property, and the bride apparently wanted to save a little bit of money, understandably, so she asked her friend to be the photographer. Okay, fair. Well, the wedding time is getting closer and closer, and guess what? What? They couldn't find her anywhere. She'd been there earlier this morning, but as we got closer to ceremony time, she was completely MIA. So the wedding party told some of the hotel staff who went looking for her, and they found her passed out in a meeting room in a pool of her own What? Yep, so we had to call 911 because she was completely unresponsive and passed out in that pool of and so she was whisked away to the hospital. Oh, she got that sloshed before the wedding? And now the wedding ceremony is happening with no photographer. Oh, that poor bride, but that's why you hire professionals and not friends who just happen to have cameras. That's what I'm saying. Speaking of professionals, want to hear my story? Yes, of course. Okay, so this story actually comes from the night auditor, all right? Last night, she got a distress call from a room, and it was this guy who had been tied up to his bed, and he said that his keys were missing, his phone was missing, his wallet, passport, everything was gone out of his room. Wait, what? That's crazy. Yeah, and security goes up there, and they find out that he had hired a couple professional ladies to come entertain him in his room that night, and they had tied him up and stolen everything. And get this. What? He has a wife, and he was here on a business trip. So he had to call his boss and explain that he had lost his passport, his phone, everything. What? Oh my God, that's so embarrassing. I know, can you believe? Well, after working in hotels, I can believe just about anything. Seriously. Okay, so let's talk about conventions at hotels. Conventions at hotels happen all year round, and they can range from anime conventions, which I myself have attended a lot of, all the way to just regular professional conventions for doctors or athletes or churches, or just think of any group that has a common interest. There's probably a convention for it. Now, every single convention absolutely has its own reputation among the hotel staff. Anime conventions, for example, are known for being a bit more wild, a bit more rowdy. There's usually lots of partying and drinking and, of course, dressing up. And anyone who has been in the cosplay community for a while now undoubtedly knows about the Homestuck incident. If you don't know, Homestuck are these little gray characters, and there was a cosplayer who decided to dye her skin gray using Sharpie in the hotel's bathtub and ended up incurring a fee of, I believe, $700 by the hotel for damages. Oh yeah, like I said, crazy, rowdy, a bit eccentric is the reputation that a lot of anime conventions have. Now, of course, when I started working in hotels, I loved anime and fandom conventions because I liked seeing everyone dressed up, and I could relate to the people who were checking in and attending because I could tell them I also like to attend these kind of conventions. I definitely had coworkers who would give a bit of bombastic side eye at all of these people dressed up in their weird costumes, but I personally loved it. Now, a convention that pretty much all of us loved was the AKC, the American Kennel Club, when they would have a convention, because we would waive all of our pet fees because pretty much every room was gonna have a dog in it, and we would get to have all of these amazing dogs come and check in with us. And there was actually one lady, I remember this so well, who, when I was oohing and ahhing over her dog, she just handed it to me over the counter and said, "Here, you can hold him while you check me in." And so I got to hold this cute little dog while I checked them into the hotel, and I was just like, this is the best day ever! Of course, that convention was already popular among the staff because of the dogs, but also because pretty much everyone who came to check in were pretty cool total chill people. Like, they're just some, dog parents who were excited to come and bring their dogs to this convention and meet up with friends. And a lot of them have been coming to these meetups for so many years. So they all know each other, and it's just this big get together. But there was this one lady. This would actually happen at a lot of hotels. The convention organizers would pay for special custom key cards to be made for their attendees. So whenever we had people who were checking with that convention, we weren't to use the regular hotel key.
আপনার নিয়ম আপনার কাছে, আমার নিয়ম আমার কাছে।
আচ্ছা, সাবধানে যাও। পানি খেয়েও বেশি বেশি। খাবার মিস করো না। তো শালার বুড়া নিজে তো মূল্যই আমাকে একদম ডুবাই দিয়ে গেছে।
এই একটা সম্পর্কই তৈরি হয় কাগজে সাইন করে। আমি দেরি করতে খুব ঘৃণা করি, তাই নিয়মের কাজ নিয়মে করি। তার মানে আপনাদের স্বামী স্ত্রীর যৌথ ব্যবসা আপনি একাই চালান, তাই তার খুব বেশি অফিসে যাওয়ার দরকার হয় না। খুনটা আমি আসলে শায়লাকে করিনি, খুনটা আমি আমাকে করেছিলাম।
প্লিজ কিডন্যাপ মি।
তোর বাবা যদি টাকা না দেয়?
তার বাপ দিবে।
আর দাদা বেঁচে আছে?
কি?
রেডি? কত পর্যন্ত উনি দিতে রাজি হবে? 5 কোটি?
জীবনে কি শুধু টাকাই সব? আমাদের ভালোবাসার জন্য কিছু একটা করতে হয়।
আপনি একটু থামেন, আপনার অ্যাক্টিংটা হচ্ছে না। চুপ, একদম চুপ।
ভয়েস চেঞ্জ করেন।
আমি যদি আর অ্যাক্টিং না করি? আমি যদি সত্যি সত্যি আপনাকে এখন অ্যাবডাক্ট করে ফেলি? চোখ নিচে।
304 গ্রেডের শার্প স্টেইনলেস স্টিল ব্লেড আর সবচেয়ে শক্তিশালী কপার কয়েল মোটর দিয়ে ভিগো ব্লেন্ডার মশলা সহ সবকিছু করবে একেবারে মিহি।
দাওয়াতে গিয়ে আমার খাইতে ভালো লাগে না। অনেক মানুষ আছে না, আশের মতন ক্যাত ক্যাত করে গলা পর্যন্ত খায়।
1 কেজি খাসির মাংস আনতে পারবেন?
ঢিলা পানি ঢিলা, স্বপ্নও পাবি নাই।
সে পচতেছে বিদেশে আর আমার আচার পচতেছে এইখানে।
দেখবেন হুট করে কার ছাগল লইছেন?
মতিন মিয়া নামে এক বুইড়া লোকের ছাগল। পেটে সমস্যা নাকি?
হ্যাঁ না, ঠিক আছে।
এত চিন্তা করার কি আছে? উপরে আল্লাহ আছে না? চা খাইবেন?
তোরা রিক্সা উঠতো, আমি দিয়ে আহি তোকে।
সি 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 ভাইজান, এটা কি কনা?
আমি নামাজে গেলাম। আরে না, ঈদের জামাত, উপায় আছে দেরি করণের। আচ্ছা শুনো, কাশেম কাকার বাড়িতে যাবো নামাজ পড়া, মাংস বানাবো, মাংস লইয়া মনে।
তাড়াতাড়ি আইসেন।